Hello YouTube world, my name is Nicholas Montez and you're watching my YouTube channel, The Teenage Movie Critic, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, everybody. I'm so excited to have you all back today again, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a movie review for the new DreamWorks animated film, Kung Fu Panda 4. Now, if you guys know me, I'm a massive Kung Fu Panda fan. The first two films are some of my favorite movies ever made, especially that first film, and when they announced that they're making a fourth one, I was like, I am so excited, because I mean, technically, I'm a big fan of fourth entries in franchises. Avengers Endgame, Toy Story 4, they have all worked, but more importantly, I also just love more Kung Fu Panda, so the fact that we were getting another one just sounded great to me, and we're getting two more films after this. However, if you're wondering, this was not my most anticipated films list of this year. It was not even found in that list. It was kind of close, but if it would have been in there if we didn't get the trailer before it. The reason I was nervous for it, while of course I was excited to see Poe again and this new adventure, I liked the idea of the chameleon character and all that stuff, but first off, the animation looked a little weird to me, looked a lot different from the past 3 films. And the absence of the Furious 5 kind of was weird. I'm like, are they going to be in this? Or is it just a surprise? So I'm like, I'm worried. I'm kind of worried about what's going to go on in this film. And so I was a little nervous. And now here are my thoughts on Kung Fu Panda 4. And in general, Kung Fu Panda 4 is a fine continuation of the franchise. I think it delivers what you like. It delivers more of what you like about this franchise. Of course, Jack Black's Poe is, of course, great. You can tell as the films progress, his voice kind of gets a little different. I don't know if it's because he's getting older, but you can tell because of that, Poe's also growing into a better person. And so I think with the voice performance of Poe in this movie is pretty great. When it comes to the comedy, it's still pretty funny. Certain parts made me laugh. There was also some pretty good action in this film. There was a lot of good action in this film. And like the first 3 films, it does a really good job of, letting us spend time in this world with all these different characters. Especially like with Mr. Ping and Lee, that dynamic between them two was really fun and cool. Even the new character of Zen, I thought was pretty cool, and all the little bad guys at Juniper City was pretty fun. Especially bringing in Ke Huy Quan in here as the pangolin. Even Viola Davis's chameleon, I thought was a pretty cool, terrifying villain. She's not as terrifying or compelling like Tai Lung or Lord Shen or Kai, but she was still kind of cool. When it came to the animation, I thought it was kind of cool. I heard that this is actually the lowest budget of the Kung Fu Panda film, so that's interesting. So I was kind of impressed by that it still somewhat looks good, but it's also used uniquely in the movie, especially when it comes to the action. They said in this film they wanted to take inspiration from the Spider-Verse movies. Obviously, I was very excited for that, and you can kind of see throughout all the little comic book panels throughout all the whole thing. So I really enjoyed that section of the film. And that's kind of everything I liked about the movie. And with that said, let's move on to the bad. And I would say this is easily the weakest film of the franchise. And this is possibly the one that has the lowest of the lows of the whole franchise. First things first, and this is kind of going to be a problem for everybody, the Furious 5 are not in this movie. And in some cases, I understand it's in the name, Kung Fu Panda. Po is a panda, he's the main character. But you had the Furious 5 in the first 3 films. At least in the third film, and they were barely in that film. But the fun thing about the first 2 films, at least the first 2 films for me, was the Furious 5 and the dynamic between all the characters, and it was just so much fun. And I understand I understand they established that they were on separate missions, and Poe had to do this whole thing, but it's like, and to be clear, I liked that they brought them back at the end to train Zen, but it's like we could have gotten more of it. We could have gotten more with them. And it's like you wasted all of that. Second thing is, this movie, because we're going into a new city and we're exploring all these different characters, it almost feels like we're watching an episode of a Kung Fu Panda series. That's not very good. I watched Paws of Destiny and Dragon Knight, the 2 shows on Netflix and Amazon Prime. They are not very good. Part of the reason why I like the Kung Fu Panda films is because the characters that they established, the Furious 5, Shifu, Mr. Ping, Po, they're so interesting with all their different backstories and with also the people that they are performed by. With Paws of Destiny and Dragon Knight, I don't care about these panda cubs that Po is training. I don't care about this bear girl from England that Po is teaming up with. I don't care about any of that. And with some of these characters, I did like. I thought they were pretty cool. Zen was a pretty cool character. But you don't really get invested enough. And I think another flaw with this movie is even like certain ideas are kind of executedly weird. That some of the ideas just feel too kiddish and they're not used as well. When this movie feels a little bit more for kids, where the first 3 films kind of had those messages for adults to understand, and there's not really any adult message you can really understand. Plus, there's a lot of ideas that they don't really do well with it. They try to have this plot line about Jupiter City being ruled by Chameleon, and there were outlaws and all this stuff. And I did kind of like the story between Chameleon and Zen, that she kind of took her in. But even with the Chameleon, it kind of feels dumb as to why she's taking all these famous characters and warriors from the spirit realm just to take their kung fu powers, put them in cages, and basically have them watch her fight Po. It just feels so dumb. And even when you bring in Tai Lung, who is the only villain in the movie that talks, he kind of acts out of character. And yeah, the action sequence that we get with him is kind of cool. We don't really get anything else with him besides him saying, you, Oogway, you were a mistake from what Oogway chose. And he says, maybe Oogway was right about you. And I did like that scene at the end, but that was like the only scene I honestly liked from him. And then even Master Shifu just acted out of character. And I don't know if it was because like Dustin Hoffman's getting older, which you can even tell in his voice. He acts so grumpy and stuff, and it's like at some parts he's acting majestic and mysterious, but then he's also acting, I don't know. I did not like Dustin Hoffman's performance as Shifu. There were a couple of moments that I liked, but his performance was kind of weird. Besides all of that, this movie is fun enough. It's good. There's definitely not as great of a story with this one, but it's fun enough. If you like Kung Fu Panda, you'll probably like it. Probably not. It's my least favorite of the franchise thus far. But that's my review for Kung Fu Panda 4. Before I give my final score, push down below. What were your thoughts on Kung Fu Panda 4? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate? What between? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. With that said, let's get on my scores. Alright, so that's it for my scores. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. On my social media stuff in the about section over there, or somewhere, I don't know. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.